how do you think that this shift to remote work will affect the global job markets, especially in developing countries?
I think it's an excellent news. I really think so. Emerging countries, for many years, didn't have access to the best jobs, which was a shame. And people in emerging countries, if they wanted to have a good career with a good salary and a good job, they had to move to the US, to Europe, to countries where you had the headquarters of these good companies, which was a shame and which was really even like creating this gap in terms of wealth between these rich countries, if you want, and these emerging countries. And that's how it was. You wanted a good job. You have, for example, myself, I went to London and then I moved like a year and a half in Paris. For the last 15 years, and now I live in Madrid. For the last 15 years, I lived in capitals only. I'm a guy from the countryside. And I would love, so now I stay in Madrid because of my daughter and she's going to school, etc. But I would love to live in the countryside, really far away. And actually, with my girlfriend, we have the project to actually really go in the countryside, somewhere remote. With remote work, we can do that completely. You said it yourself. You don't live in a big city. And I think that's an amazing news because first people from, I'm talking about the US, we saw already in the US, if you wanted a good job in tech, you had to be in a Silicon Valley with crazy prices, with, of course, good salaries. The life there was insane. Now people moved away from the valley and are living still in the US, but in more remote locations where they can, instead of having a small apartment, they can now have a bigger house, a better life. They can have a garden, maybe a swimming pool. They have a better life. Okay. So we are seeing this trend in like developed countries. But when you talk about emerging countries, I'm seeing, for example, lately I've been looking a lot into Africa. The African market already today is the youngest continent in the world. 50% of African people are under 25 years old. Okay. And there are a lot of schools, there are a lot of people learning development, learning a lot of these jobs. They don't have to move away anymore. They can be working for a German company remotely from Kenya, for example, which is amazing. And they don't even have to be in the capital of Kenya. They can be in the countryside, in their village. As soon as they have internet and a laptop, they can do the job. And in emerging countries, you have a lot of places where in the small village, no one had, I would say, a job with like really good salary. And the impact of one or two people in one small village with a good salary could have an amazing impact into the whole village, because that person can then reinvest into the village, can help the people in the village. And these small villages with really small like money or budget, with remote work, with some people working remotely, can really start a change in the village. And then the other people will see, oh, but these guys, they are working remotely from companies like in Europe or in the US. I will do the same. And it's possible. And it's possible. So people will have a much better life. And I think that's amazing. This better distribution of wealth across the world. And I really hope that with remote work, the gaps between the developed countries and the emerging countries will then be reduced because of remote work.